Hey guys, Nick here. A few weeks back I was thinking to myself about how much I love Doom. It's a great game, the level design is super interesting, the combat is gory, and it makes you feel like you're the one that is punching through those demons. And also, I think it's about time I switched over to 3D games. I wanted to recreate Doom's atmosphere, but I also wanted to add a bit of political standings, which Doom also does very well, and I also wanted some creepiness. What is creepier than cute things killing each other? I asked myself. So I made a plan for a game where a third grader goes crazy and starts killing her classmates. I soon found out that I wasn't going to meet most of my requirements that I wanted, like a story, mechanics similar to glory kills, and engaging combat. So I pretty much scratched that idea. I contemplated many things for several days as I planned out the scripts and starting working on them. I used C#. After days of contemplating how I should make this game and going through several different designs in my mind, I decided to make a small mixture of Doom and Dark Souls, which is why you are currently watching me play Dark Souls and not Doom. Well, that and my laptop does not like to record Doom. So the story of the game goes like this. Our character is shown to have very great parents and not to have a difficult time at all throughout her current life, although she is still just a young girl. Her and her brother are playing around the house when they run into their parents' room and they find a safe that is left unlocked. Her brother, being the curious kid he is, opens the safe. He turns around with a pistol in his hand. Ooh, a pop gun. I love pop guns. Him and his sister then start playing Cowboys and Indians. Her brother finally corners her and pulls the trigger. To his dismay, nothing happens. He looks down the barrel to see what just happened, pulled the trigger again, and boom! The scene cuts to his sister, and back, and we see that her brother's eye is missing. His brains and blood is painted on the wall, and we can see right through his skull. Her parents run through the house to find out what just happened, and upon entering the room, we hear a gut-wrenching scream, and our character shrinks. The background goes dark, and platforms appear behind us. Our character starts to run away with a sense of guilt, and we are faced with our first platforming section, like a modern Mario game, but with a completely different environment. When we get to the end of the platforming, a slight ring starts to appear and grows louder the further we get, and we approach a white light. But before we can get to the white line, our hand reaches out and grabs a hold of our character. This cuts us to a new scene. We open up the next scene with a fully grown version of our character, waking up to the bell for the next class. Everyone's face except hers is covered with a black and white X. This marks the end of the day. We arrive home from school. We could show a scene where she's riding the bus and it's cold and rainy, so the window she's leaning her head against is fogged up and covered in rain from the other side. I'm just trying to set up a depressed mood, and are immediately met with her parents fighting, showing how the relationship of her family has started to fall apart. Her house could be falling apart just the same as a metaphorical reference to the relationship between her father and her mother falling apart. And the further you go, the more dilapidated the house becomes. And towards the end, her parents could divorce, and the house could fall or burn down. Just some ideas. She goes to her room and goes to sleep. The whole scene shall be animated and is just there for some more backstory. Now we get into gameplay. She arrives to school the next day and we are faced with our first enemy. Another human. It approaches us and tries attacking us with a sword that has the words, "What's up?" painted all over it. You can either take this hit or dodge it. This is an intro into the combat system. I want it to be similar to Dark Souls, but all the weapons you use are basically ineffective. I also want to have it so that if you decide to fight them and you get to a certain point in their health, you can perform a glory kill, just like one in Doom. Your only hope for surviving at this point is really just to dodge the attacks. But I want to make it so that the more people you have successful conversations with, or kill, that's how it will be displayed, the more effective your weapons become. This, I think, will be the main mechanic of the game. The further you go, the more difficult it will be to dodge the attacks, and eventually we will get to the final boss battle of the first section, which will be something like a presentation, and the only way to go on is to defeat it. You can't use excuses, similar to fire bombs in Dark Souls, or just regular bombs in pretty much any other game. And if you dodge, you can't go on. This just forces you to use a mechanic that was pretty much useless at first, but if you used it throughout the game, as intended, you will find that this final boss is easy to defeat. That pretty much explains the layout of the game. But this, I think, will just be the first level. I want her to have a battle more stuff in later areas and have to use different tactics. But this is already a pretty ambitious project for me already, so we will see what I think after I finish the first scene. With my next post, I will be talking about the code and what progress I made since today's video. If you want to stay up with my journey, go ahead and subscribe if you wish, but you don't have to. You can always just look me up. It's not a hard name to remember. Just Nick_T_Gamer. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.